This is an NBC News special report. Attack on America. Here is Tom Brokaw.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Here's the latest on a Saturday that has seen the president preparing this country for a war against terrorists that carried out the World Trade Center attacks as workers there continue to labor at the scene. Their fourth straight day of digging. No survivors have been found. The toll of known dead and missing is rising. You're looking now at the scene in lower Manhattan, and it is a crisp, gorgeous autumn day in New York City. Favorable conditions for the work effort, but New Yorkers continue to struggle to come to terms with the mounting casualty count. A quick look now at the major developments of this day. The president bracing Americans for a sustained assault against terrorism. The death toll, as we said, rising to 124 bodies recovered so far, 184 people confirmed dead. The number unaccounted for, however, is up by almost 200 to 4,972. There have been more than 24 arrests tonight. Most are for immigration violations, but one man arrested in New York today is being held as a material witness in the terror attacks. And the first memorials for the victims. The president and his national security team are meeting at Camp David. They spoke to the press earlier today, and President Bush, for the first time, used three very specific words.
We're at war. There's been an act of war declared upon America by terrorists, and we will respond accordingly. And I appreciate very much the American people understanding that. As we plan, as we put our strategy into action, we will let you know when we think it's appropriate, not only for to protect the lives of our servicemen and women, but to make sure our coalition has had proper time to be noticed as well. But we're going to act.
What is the risk of additional attacks on us at this point?
I would think the American people need to be go about their business on Monday, but with a heightened sense of awareness that that a group of barbarians have declared war on the American people.
And joining me now from the Pentagon is NBC's Jim Miklashevsky. Jim, the president says that we're going to act, but do you think it will be in the short term, medium term, or long term?
Tom, the U.S. military can strike at any time, limited airstrikes with long-range cruise missiles, even B-52 bombers. That is, if they can identify the location of their target, the prime suspect, Osama bin Laden. But for a more prolonged campaign, like President Bush and Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld are talking about, that would include sustained airstrikes, maybe even a small ground invasion into Afghanistan that could take 2 to 3 months to put together. Meanwhile, here at the Pentagon, while recovery efforts continue, rescue workers digging through the rubble looking for the dead, the Pentagon released some dramatic video today of the damage after that American airliner 757 that was flown by terrorists slammed into the side of the Pentagon. According to Pentagon officials, it will now take several $100,000 and at least 2 to 3 years to repair. Tom?
Thank you so much, NBC Jim Miklashevsky tonight. Back at Ground Zero, the difficult and devastating work goes on. Today, I was able to get up close to the site myself, and all week long, our television correspondents working for NBC and newspapers, firemen and rescue people have been saying television cannot do justice to the scene of wreckage and carnage. They could not be more right. It is impossible to describe the extent of the damage there. 50-story buildings, to say nothing of those twin towers that went 110 stories high, now reduced to mounds of rubble only 2 stories high, and very, very tightly compacted. To say nothing of the damage that has been done to the buildings in the immediate vicinity, many of them have suffered severe structural damage, and they too will have to come down. The first funerals and memorial services for the victims were held today. Hundreds of mourners turned out at the Church of St. Thomas More in Arlington, Virginia, to pay tribute to Barbara Olson, the wife of the U.S. Solicitor General Ted Olson. She was on the plane that hit the Pentagon. Here in New York City, the man New York's firefighters called Father Michael Judge, their own chaplain who died giving last rites to a firefighter, was mourned by more than 2,000 people in services at St. Patrick's Cathedral. I'll be back with NBC Nightly News and a Dateline special tonight at 8, 7 Central. And, of course, we'll be back on this NBC station as events warrant. I'm Tom Brokaw in New York.